Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we are going to look at a brand new release from Sonia G. It is her newest makeup brush. Let me introduce you very proudly to the Niji Pro. And this is an $85 brush with a Pro handle. That's why it's called the Pro. The handle fits the Pro collection. This new brush, Niji means rainbow in Japanese, and I think you can see that. Look at the little kind of arc. And this brush right now is used, well used and loved, but you are going to see it clean and in action in just a moment. So the first thing we do when we get this brush is we need to wash it. Now, let me tell you, I am an eager beaver. I like to just dive in and use it, but it is very important that we wash these brushes first, these brand beautiful natural brushes. Why is that? Now, some people say to get out things that might have, no, really it's to allow the shape of the brush to fully come through. I want to show you right now the brush, a little video of the brush pre-wash and then after. So take a look at this, just a little 9-second clip or so here. And as you see, not only is the shape change after washing and letting the brush dry, also those little side little hairs kind of splay out, if you notice, in the unwashed brush. But once it's washed, everything just kind of comes together beautifully. There's no little strays popping out on the sides. It just allows the brush to just kind of settle in after its long travel. That's how I like to see it. Now, I do need to mention that this brush is currently sold out. It went like wildfire when it went up on the Beautylish website, but there is linked below a little area where you can sign up to be notified for when it comes back in stock. And I would love this video not to be frustrating and aggravating because currently at the moment of filming it's not available. We're hoping it will be back soon. So I'm hoping this could be a little bit informative to let you know whether you want to join that wait list. I should have said that first. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Niji Pro, what it's used for. For those of you who know a ton about beautiful handmade artisan Japanese brushes, I am not trying to talk down to you, just trying to make this video available for everybody, including beginning users who might not know what they would need this for. I actually think you do need this. This brush is kind of in between a bronzer and a buffer. It's kind of between a powder brush, I should say, and a fluffy, dense brush. The great thing about this is, yes, it's extraordinarily fluffy, but it doesn't get away from you. Let me explain what I mean. You know when you have, let me get a big powder brush so we can discuss this. Stay right there. Okay, I brought back my Refer number 30, which is a brush I love, so I'm not throwing shade on the Refer brush at all. But as you see, this is a very kind of fluffy brush, and it can kind of get away from you. See how these kind of, everything flicks. So I tend to use this with more of a translucent powder. You're not going to get an accurate placement. This brush here is much more dense, okay? So you have much more control over the placement. The little hairs are not going to just fly back and flick like they do on a fluffier, less dense brush, which gives you more control and allows you to use more pigment with a brush like this. This is a great one for things like hybrid powder formulas, baked gelées. It is going to be a little dense for dark blushes. And in the demo, I mentioned specifically that Patrick Ta trio of blushes that are really powerful. Unless you want a really striking look, this probably wouldn't be your first choice or my first choice for very bold blushes. But anything that is baked or hybrid and you want to be able to get the color. The other thing that this helps with is full control. This is like being in charge of the car. The harder that you press and the more pressure you apply, the more pigment it will apply if you're using a pigmented powder. And the gentler you go, it can also kind of mimic a more fluffy brush. Now, I asked over on Instagram, Sonia G, over on her Instagram when she was talking about this, if it would replace my beloved, and everyone knows I love this, my beloved Face Pro. And my Face Pro is a little bit worse for wear, but I love him. And Sonia said they're not really competitors. They kind of work together. So this one they kind of, as you see, look at the little difference. This one has its little See, but this is going to apply a little bit more accurately and a little bit more densely. And this is just a little bit fluffier with a little bit more of a flick. So this I would probably still use for bronzers, but this would be better for bronzing and contouring or bronzing. It can also kind of work with the Face 1, which is now has a new handle and it's called the Buffer Pro, but this is the original Face 1, and this kind of buffs makeup in, but you can also buff with this because of the denseness. So this is kind of a hybrid brush that does a myriad of things. We in the demo are going to use this brush for the entire face. I am going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm, and we're going to do the entire face with it. This also has a size that fits well into every pan, so you can kind of even get the side of it or any of it into even the smallest of pans, and it still kind of splays out, gives you the curved sides, and just a bunch of different surfaces to work with for bronzing, for blushing, even for highlighting, and I'm going to show you that. It's kind of an in-between everything brush that really, for me, for baked gelée, this really brings those stubborn baked gelées to life for me. And we are going to show you I am going to show you in the demo all the different ways that this can be used to make an entire face full of makeup. It is an absolutely beautiful brush. I would say that until now, the Face Pro has been my absolute favorite Sonia G face brush, but I think we might be replacing it. I just absolutely love it. Now, we talked about washing, so let me just show you me washing this brush before use so that you can just take a look at how to do it, holding it upside down and getting a little soap in there. Now, I didn't get this too sudsy because it was brand new and not really what we would call dirty, but I just wanted to show you me washing it. And there it is, kind of just getting everything out and getting it just ready. It looks like I'm really pulling on the bristles there. I'm not at all. I'm being extremely gentle. The video is a bit misleading there. And then let it out to dry. I just let mine dry overnight, and it was ready and nice and fluffy and ready to go in the morning. So we are going to go now that it's all dry to me using it for the first time with the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm palette. So take a look and then we'll discuss it. Okay, so let's give every aspect of this new Niji brush a chance to do an entire face. So what I have here is the Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm palette, which I'm dropping. This palette, I got the inspiration to use this because Sonia G on Sweet Makeup Temptations, her blog, actually mentions this as an example palette for use. So what better than taking it from the creator herself. Okay, so what I have on now is I've actually used this Nudegasm palette on my eyes. So I actually have done my eyes just using shades from the palette, which is something I actually like to do a lot with a face palette. And we are going to let the new Niji Pro here do the rest. We're going to first of all take what I'm going to use as a contour, kind of a light contour, and I'm going to use the flat part of the brush into the contour here, just getting it right there, knocking a little bit off, and then I'm going to make my silly face and suck in my little chubby cheeks here and try to do a little bit of contour. That's a very gentle contour, but that's how I like it. I'm not a big contour fan. Just a little bit helps though, doesn't it? And then I'm going to use that same kind of flat side of the brush to just kind of work that shade just into and around, just to give my face a little bit more definition. Okay, then I'm going to bronze, and I'm going to use this kind of darker shade here to bronze, and I'm just using the fluffiest part of the brush to do that, just to kind of bronze and give myself just a little bit more color. I'm going to go over the areas where I use the flat side. And then I'm just kind of going to go over here, the top of my nose, and I'm just kind of using the fluffiness of the Niji to do that. Then I'm going to take the sides of the brush here, just kind of these areas right here, which is almost, if you look at it, can almost be like a fan brush, and I'm going to use that side to highlight with. So I'm just doing the entire face just with that. Okay, so this is that side. I'm using the other side that I used, and I'm just going to gently. Is this too big of a brush to highlight with? I don't think so. I'm not having any trouble. When you use all the space of the brush to your advantage. There's no problem with that, as you can see. And I'm going to even take it a step further and go into this pinker blush shade and use this just like whole fluffiness of the brush. Look at that, just to apply. And this works so well on this kind of a formula. So look what I've got here going. And I've just kind of, yes, I have mixed in a way the shades, but they're all mixed on my face too, and it kind of makes a really nice look. And the brush just feels so beautiful. I like it especially when you use just the kind of the full, soft fluffiness of the brush. It will kind of do anything you want. And remember that depending on how much pressure you put as you use the brush, you're going to get more of an effect that way. So I like a lot of blush, because I am Aunt Sally reincarnated. So I don't know if you could tell me going to town there, I was really kind of pressing a little bit harder and really going in there on the cheeks so that I could really achieve a really blushy kind of rosy cheek. Whereas when I was doing the contour with the flat side, I was being very gentle. And that is the really nice thing about this brush. You're really in control of it depending upon where you hold it, depending upon how much pressure you apply, and depending upon what formula you use. Now, had this been a very, very dark blush, for instance, the Patrick Ta blush palette that he just released with 3 very bright, very pigmented shades, this might not be your first choice. Unless you really are going for a very bold look, which I don't usually like, this probably wouldn't be the brush for that. Nothing wrong with the brush, it's just not what it's intended for, those really, really dark, dark shades. And this palette right here is I'm going to go back in because I just enjoy using the brush. This palette here is such a gentle kind of baked formula that it just really, I can see why Sonia G herself kind of used this as the example. I'm going overboard now. But I just wanted to show you how this could just be a multi-purpose. Now, on a general everyday, would I pick up this Niji brush and just use it for a face? Maybe with this palette I actually would. But in general, how will I use, if I move my mirror there, how will I use this Niji brush? In general, I like the biggest, fluffiest part of it. And I would use this for kind of a bronzer, sunny, glowy, blushy look. And it will be a great addition to, I'll probably still use this brush right here, my Face Pro, to kind of contour and bronze. And I will use this to kind of spread the bronzer and to use them together, like I was telling you, Sonia G suggested. They're kind of friends, not enemies. The fluffiness and the softness of this brush is unbeatable. One of the softest and fluffiest that Sonia G has ever made, in my opinion, but still has that denseness so you don't lose the control, which is my issue with very fluffy brushes. I don't like how they're kind of everywhere, and I feel they must be relegated to translucent powder. This is not like that. You definitely have that control that I crave from a fluffier brush. So for me, a definite winner, a perfect addition to my collection. When they come back in stock, I will definitely buy another one. This is something to consider whether you are a pro makeup artist or just doing at-home makeup for fun. The amount of control will really be comforting to you. It's just kind of an obvious brush for so many things without getting out of hand, if that makes any sense. So let me know your thoughts. Were you lucky enough to get this while it was still available? Are you going to join the wait list so you can get it when it comes back, which hopefully will be shortly? Let me know. I'm always interested in your comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I sure hope that you did. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel so that I can see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.